Walk on the water, the courage to believe. Welcome to this channel, a place born out of purpose, passion, and the unwavering belief that stories can transform lives. Here, we do more than share messages. We ignite journeys. We explore faith, strength, and hope through storytelling that moves the heart and stirs the soul. If you've ever felt like you're made for more, like something inside you longs for a breakthrough, a calling, or a deeper connection, then you are exactly where you're meant to be. Each story we tell carries a purpose, not just to inspire you in passing, but to awaken something lasting within you. Because life isn't just a series of random events, it's a narrative waiting for meaning. And today, we bring to you one of the most profound narratives ever told, a story of fear, faith, failure, and the miraculous power of trust. It's a story from the Bible, but it's also your story, mine too. Because though the setting may be ancient, the lessons are timeless. So let yourself be drawn in. Breathe in the mystery, the power, the wonder of what it means to walk on water. It began in the dark, not just any dark, but that eerie, suffocating blackness that hangs over you when your world spins out of control. The sea was restless. The wind was loud, howling through the night like a warning. 12 men sat huddled in a boat, rowing furiously, muscles aching, hearts pounding with fear. The water churned violently beneath them, and every wave that struck the boat seemed like a threat to their very lives. These were not strangers to storms. They were seasoned fishermen. But this storm was different. It wasn't just outside of them. It was inside. In the panic, in the exhaustion, in the cold and the dark, their hope began to shrink. And Jesus, their teacher and miracle worker, was not with them. He had sent them ahead, told them to cross the sea, while he went alone to pray. And now, in their most desperate moment, they were alone. Or so they thought. Suddenly, something appeared in the distance. A figure walking. Yes, walking on the water. At first, they were terrified. "It's a ghost!" someone screamed. Their minds couldn't compute what their eyes were witnessing. A person, walking effortlessly atop the chaos of the sea, heading straight for them. But then a familiar voice pierced the wind. "Take courage! It is I! Do not be afraid!" That voice, calm, commanding, unmistakable, it was Jesus. In that moment, one man dared to speak. Peter, the bold one, the impulsive one, called out, "Lord, if it is really you, tell me to come to you on the water." What an outrageous thing to say. What a profound challenge. And Jesus, without hesitation, responded with a single word that would change everything. "Come." Time stood still. Peter looked at the storm, the waves, the boat that was at least floating, and then he lifted Jesus. Something in his heart, something deeper than logic or fear, moved him to obey. He stood, trembling perhaps, and placed one foot over the side, then the other. And to his astonishment, his feet didn't sink. The water held him. He was walking, walking on water. Every step he took was a miracle. His eyes were locked on Jesus, and with every moment, faith surged through him like fire. But the storm didn't stop. The wind still howled, the waves still rose, and then he looked away. Just for a second, his gaze drifted from the one who had called him. He saw the storm, the impossible circumstances, and fear roared back into his chest. In that instant, he began to sink. The water, once firm beneath him, gave way. Panic set in, and he cried out with raw desperation, "Lord, save me." Immediately, not after a pause, not with a lecture, immediately, Jesus reached out and caught him. Strong hands pulled Peter back up, and then came the gentle rebuke, not of condemnation, but of love. "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" They walked back to the boat together, Jesus and Peter, side by side, and the moment they climbed in, the storm stopped. The sea calmed, and the boat rocked gently in silence. Awe filled the disciples. They had just witnessed something impossible. But more than that, they had witnessed what faith can do when it rises above fear. Let's not rush past this moment. Let's sit with it, because this story is not about Peter's failure. It's about his courage. He was the only one who stepped out. 11 other men stayed in the boat, clinging to what was safe, familiar, and rational. But Peter dared to believe that if Jesus called him, then even the sea could be his path. And for a few glorious steps, it was. That moment changed Peter forever, not because he didn't fall, but because he learned what it meant to rise in faith, to trust completely, and to be held by the hand of God. And isn't that what we all need? That kind of faith, not the kind that guarantees we won't fall, but the kind that knows we'll be caught when we do. This story isn't just about the past. It speaks directly into your present. Right now, you may be in your own storm. The waves may be crashing in your finances, your health, your relationships, or your mind. Maybe you've been rowing for hours, or months, or even years, and you're exhausted. Maybe it feels like God is distant, silent, or absent. But what if, in the middle of your storm, He's actually approaching, walking on the very thing that terrifies you? What if the storm isn't a sign of your destruction, but a setup for your miracle? What if Jesus is already there, speaking those same words into your soul? Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid. And what if He's calling you to do something impossible? Maybe not walk on literal water, but step out in faith. Start that business. Forgive that person. Confront that fear. Pursue that calling. Maybe He's inviting you to let go of your boat, your comfort zone, and walk towards something greater, something unknown, something holy. The sea will never feel safe. The wind will never be silent. But your Savior will never let you fall beyond His reach. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's walking through fear with your eyes fixed on the one who is greater than the storm. It's stepping out, even when it makes no sense, even when you're shaking, even when your friends stay behind. And yes, sometimes you'll look down. Sometimes fear will creep in. Sometimes you will sink. But even then, especially then, Jesus will reach down and lift you back up, because He never lets go. That's what grace is. That's what love is. That's what faith looks like when it's real. You see, we often admire Peter's boldness, but fear his fall. Yet the fall is part of the story. It's what makes the miracle personal. Peter didn't just witness Jesus' power. He felt it grip his hand. He didn't just hear a sermon on faith. He lived it, stumbled through it, and was saved by it. That's the kind of story that changes a person. And it can change you too. Your storm, your fear, your failure, they don't disqualify you. They invite you. They call you out of the boat, because Jesus isn't looking for perfect people. He's looking for willing ones. People who say, "Lord, if it's you, call me," and then step into the water when He says, "Come." So let this story be your story. Let it echo in your heart when you feel unsure, afraid, or unworthy. Let it remind you that faith is not about certainty. It's about trust. Trusting that God is who He says He is. Trusting that He will hold you up. Trusting that when you walk toward Him, even the impossible becomes your path. And if this message stirred something in you, if it awakened a sense of purpose, hope, or courage you didn't know you had, then don't let it fade. Hold on to it, reflect on it, and let it propel you into action. Because faith is not passive. It's a walk, a step, a movement, and you were created to move. Here on this channel, that's what we believe in. We believe in taking that first step. We believe in the power of storytelling to spark transformation. And we believe that inside you is the same faith that made Peter walk on water. Not because he was perfect, but because he believed. If you want more stories like this, stories that speak to your soul, that push you to grow, that remind you of the divine within you, then we invite you to subscribe. Not just to a channel, but to a journey. Every week, we'll walk through the waves together. Every week, we'll step out in faith. So hit that subscribe button. Become part of a community that believes in miracles, even in the storm. And share this message with someone who needs it. Someone standing on the edge of their boat, wondering if they dare to believe. This is your moment, your invitation, your call to rise. The water is waiting, the storm is still, and Jesus is saying, "Come, now walk."